Well, the Prime Minister herself has talked about political and legal aspects of the agreement which need to be addressed, and that's important because it isn't just political reassurances that are required. We have the explanation from the Attorney General which pointed out the flaws in the withdrawal agreement, so that issue needs to be addressed by the European Union, and clearly they may not do that quickly, but I think they have to be made to realise that is what needs to happen if this withdrawal agreement is ever to get anywhere near getting through the House of Commons. Don't want to get into the particular form of it, but what needs to happen is that the backstop issue, which traps the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland into an indefinite arrangement, even though it might be called temporary, it is that needs to be addressed. And if that's legally binding currently, then it needs a legal change to that to make it non-indefinite, if you know what I mean, because that's the real problem with all of this. And therefore, the Prime Minister, I think, is aware of that. She says she knows the issues for Conservative and DUP MPs, and therefore, that's the issue that we need to see some movement on. As I say, the form of it is not what's important. It's what's the legal effect of it. And I mean, so far the EU isn't showing much signs of being prepared to meet the Prime Minister even halfway, and this will be a test of negotiations now, and the tragedy, we believe, is that we reached this stage after the withdrawal agreement was signed, sealed and delivered. The negotiations should never have been allowed to be concluded before this matter was properly settled. No, I mean, if there's nothing changes, then clearly our opposition to the withdrawal agreement remains, as will the opposition of hundreds of other MPs, and the deal has no hope of getting through. The Prime Minister now, I think, realises that. That's why she's put the vote on hold and doing what she's doing. So let's see what happens. Well, that may be the case. Clearly, the prospect of an immediate election seems to have receded in the Irish Republic, so maybe some of those pressures are eased on their government. But Leo Varadkar, the Irish Prime Minister, has been quite aggressive in his approach to this whole Brexit issue as far as Northern Ireland is concerned, and he's been instrumental in this sort of protocol, this backstop proposal, which would do damage to the union. So there undoubtedly needs to be a change in terms of the mindset, and let's hope that the political situation in the South now gives them more room to think more imaginatively. I have no doubt that if the Irish government were to say to the EU, look, we need some extra room for manoeuvre here, we need to get a settlement, because after all, a no deal is very bad for the Irish Republic, worse so than any other member state, then I'm sure the EU would respond to that positively.